I think it was sort of a natural evolution that we kind of knew was coming. I have a bit of a history with Mezzabarba at this point. I think it was the second demo video I ever did was for the Skill, which was the little short head, which is a real feisty one, by the way. And so I went from that to doing one for the M0 Overdrive, which was at the time the flagship amp for their line. I knew about this, I want to say, a year, maybe a little more before launch. It actually came up in conversation with Howie Simon, who is a phenomenal guitar player and also one of the more visible Mezzabarba players out there. And he had told me that they were working on a 3-channel design, and at the time, yeah, I mean, I was excited, but I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I kind of figured that it would end up most likely being some kind of a retooling of the M0 sort of vibe, but it was so much more than that in the end. he calls it Trinity, which makes sense, I guess. It's a 3-channel amplifier, and it is infinitely more versatile than anything he's made previously, and really kind of has a voice and a life all its own. So with the 3 channels comes a whole host of new features. Now all 3 of the channels have bright and boost controls, and each of those controls sound a little bit different per channel. It's not just like one tacked on feature that does the same thing each time. And in keeping with the tradition of the M0, the negative feedback control remains and the depth and presence controls remain, but now there are also 2 switchable masters on the back of the amp, which are kind of doing power scaling and things like that. Just sort of a way to have internal gain structure that you might not have really had control over before. Perhaps the coolest feature, though, is that the entire amp is now switchable and programmable over MIDI, and over USB as well. Not only that, but they actually make their own foot controller for this, too. I think tone-wise it was kind of things I expected and things I didn't really expect, and was pleasantly surprised. I mean, there are a lot of companies that make multi-channel high-gain amps. I mean, tons at this point, really. But usually in conversation, people always talk about, 1 or 2 specific channels that are kind of the centerpiece of those amps. And especially in the high-gain world, the clean channel is kind of the afterthought for a lot of people. And with the Trinity, it's really not. I mean, I have to say that I knew that the gains were going to be great, but the clean channel was inspiringly great on this amp, and it really sort of contributed to a lot of the musical ideas I had for the song, for the video, and it was just really fun to play on. And turning on the boost on that channel just gives it this beautiful sort of low gain crunch sort of chime sort of quality to it, and it's just really versatile. Like, people say amps are versatile. This amp really is versatile. It was really surprising. You have that clean channel with the boost and the bright and all that, and then, you move to the second channel, which is like that total sort of AC/DC kind of early Guns N' Roses kind of vibe, and you can push it further with the boost, but it's very open and very lyrical sounding, kind of, depending on what you play, of course. And then channel 3, channel 3 is sort of that signature Mezzabarba high gain, that beautiful sort of layered, textured kind of vibe. But on this, it's like a total, like a rampage. It's way more radical and aggressive sounding than it was before, quite a bit tighter than before. For me, it's kind of like now the product range is sort of complete and fully rounded out, because there's an amp now that sort of rolls all of the stuff that Mezzabarba makes into one head, but keeps it fresh and unique. So it's like you'd have like that beautiful clean from the 101, and you'd have the the crazy high gain from the M0, and anything in between that. But it's still its own voice. It is not a head shell with 3 channels of existing Mezzabarba amps in it. It is the Trinity.